The yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
Where to start? So, the Inflation Reduction Act passed the United States Senate on Sunday, August the 7th, on a party line vote. So the Democrats spent a year, give or take a few days, negotiating with themselves because the act passed on a party line vote. 0 flipping Republicans voted for it. If that's not enough to make you want to holler, I got more. I'm signed and I have more. Now, pundits will say that the Inflation Reduction Act is historic, especially when it comes to the portion of the bill that deals with greenhouse gases. $370 billion to be invested, over the next 10 years to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by about 40%. Multiple things can be true at the same time. Sweeping, they will say. But what many of them will not talk to you about is the fact that it took this long to just get this. And what the bottom line is, overwhelmingly, the everyday woman, man, and child of this country will not reap quick and deep-seated benefits in a way that they could and that they should. The two portions I want to talk about for my focus that has my blood boiling. I'm barely able to sit here as coolly and calmly as I am. Don't let this demeanor fool you. I'm ready to jump out of my flipping skin. You have Senator Bernard Sanders pushing an amendment in that bill to expand the child tax credit. You have Senator Warnock pushing in the bill for some concessions on Medicare. And you have Democrats who are supposed to be champions for these things reluctantly voting down those amendments. When I tell you, sisters and brothers and family and friends, we have entered the 100th circle of hell. I mean just that. But let us focus on the insulin part. That's the part I want to focus in on. I may do several points about this particular bill, but let's talk about insulin, shall we? 1 in 9 Americans ration their insulin. The parliamentarian ruled that a $35 insulin cap isn't budgetary. Now, here we go with these games with the parliamentarian. Many of you may be old enough to remember when the same parliamentarian said that they couldn't increase the federal minimum wage, which is still $7.25. The parliamentarian whose ideas, whose points that are being made, recommendations, if you will, are not binding. The parliamentarian who could be fired and replaced. The parliamentarian that works for the Democratic Senate said that the $35 insulin cap isn't budgetary. Isn't budgetary for whom? Because it shows budgetary for the millions of Americans who need insulin to live. It's budgetary for them. Dems overruled, so it needed 60 votes to pass. We know how this works, which is it got filibuster. It got 57 votes. Republicans wouldn't vote for it. Last time I checked, there are people in the United States of America who need insulin, whether they're Republican or Democrat. There are just some things that are so fundamental and necessary that this ain't about who's Republican and who's Democrat. So shame on the Democrats for even listening to this parliamentarian, and double shame on the Republicans for not voting for this. We needed more Republicans. So what is the moral of this story? That there is a total callous indifference for the suffering and needs of the people of this country. Whether it's Democrat or Republican, they all playing games. That the parliamentarians should have been overruled, and it should have just been a straight up a majority, not super majority vote when it came to this. Everybody is guilty as hell, and the people are left out here wanting. What is the other moral to this story? Because this is a flippin' disgrace. And if it wasn't for the fact that this is a family show, y'all know what other choice words I want to use. So we have this bill, the IRA bill, the Inflation Reduction Act. You got 0 Republican votes, even though Manchin left the floor saying this is the best thing since sliced bread. Magical Manchin could not get not one of his Republican colleagues to vote for the bill, mind you. We don't have the cap on insulin. We don't have the child tax credit. And we don't have expansion of Medicare for dental and hearing for the elders of this nation. I want to remind you that the approval rating of this Congress is 18%. That's a little too high in my mind. United States of America, Americans, people of this country, free thinking folks of this nation. Let me tell you something. We can no longer continue to be complicit in our own demise. And that is what is happening right now. And on the Democratic side, we should be disgusted as hell because you got folks who sit up there and pretend like they are progressive, sitting up there trying to destroy and vote down amendments. The amendment that Senator Sanders put forward. The first person to jump up and say, don't vote for it. And what you're doing, Bernie, was the senator from the great state of Ohio, Senator Sherrod Brown. I shake my head because you got over 50% of the children in the city of Cleveland, where I live, living in poverty. And then when it came to the vote on that amendment, Senator Sanders was the only one that voted for his amendment. All the rest of the mofos, Republicans and Democrats alike, voted against it. America, wake up. This is what we're dealing with. There are very few of them who actually give a about the suffering of big mamas and big daddies and their children and their children's children, whether it's in rural hoods, urban hoods, or suburban hoods where people are misunderstood. You should be mad as hell. We should decide that we're not going to take this stuff no more. We don't need no more smiling faces, no more half-measured people. The time is over. People are dying and suffering. We got the pandemic. We got monkeypox, whatever the hell we calling it. We got all this stuff going on. We're going to meet again on this.